Hello and welcome to Food Freedom Milwaukee Radio. I'm your host, Quinn Wilder, and you are listening to WXRWLP Milwaukee 104.1 FM, River West Radio. Well, we are in the station live right now, and I'm here with a very special guest, Ellen Colby. Hello, Ellen.
Hello, Quinn. Thanks for having me.
You bet. Now, Ellen, we recently kind of came cross paths when you had your big event. At least for me, it's one of your big events, the Urban Ag Convention, Urban Ag Con. Milwaukee, is that the official full name?
Milwaukee Urban Ag Con.
There it goes. I got the order wrong.
Yep, no.
But this is my second time participating in that. The first time, Food Freedom was pretty young and just kind of starting out, and it was just amazing to get inundated with sort of the landscape of kind of I would say sort of the alternative or the local food system in around Milwaukee and all the incredible things people are doing. And it was the same experience this time. Was a couple months ago, right?
October 20th.
Okay,
Yep.
So about a month ago.
Just about.
October 20th. And this time I got to be on a panel and be up there with some people that have been inspiring me for a while, and especially Martise at Full Circle Healing. He and I have had a lot of conversations over the last few years, and I've really followed his work, and he's a pretty incredible human, and it's an incredible nonprofit that those guys are doing.
Absolutely.
So
I'm so
to thank
excited
you.
to see they got their farm. I'm so happy
know,
for
it's so
them
excited
and
they
can't wait to
actually
see how they grow. So.
It's awesome. And you also started your organization, MARM Farm, around a little before I think Food Freedom got rolling, and you said it started out as a business first. Can you tell us a little bit about the evolution and kind of where were you at that point that led you to creating all of this?
Sure. So in about 2018, I actually retired from content and digital marketing. So I worked in e-commerce for about 25 years, always inside, always behind a computer, obviously.
Sounds horrible.
It was good work while I was doing it.
Mm-hmm.
But once I retired, I wanted to do something a little bit more tangible and a little more in touch and beneficial to my community, I think. So in 2020, actually in the spring of 2020, I decided to go back to school just to start learning about horticulture.
Okay.
It's like, I want to grow my own food, but I don't know anything about it.
Right.
And that was actually right when COVID started. So I was at Gateway in Kenosha studying greenhouse operations and horticulture certification. So I needed to do a project for my practicum, and everything was closed at that time because you couldn't go and volunteer anywhere.
Right.
So at my mother's house, my stepfather had a garden for like 15 years, and after he passed, it was just kind of there, untended.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, oh, well, let's make this the practicum project and kind of rehabilitate the garden. Whatever we grow, we'll give to the food pantry. I think we called it like the helping garden, something, just for the project to get it started.
Sure. So you created your own practicum, basically?
Had to at that time,
Mm-hmm.
So I got the garden rehabilitated, cleaned it up, pulled weeds for like almost a whole year solid
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
from it sitting there, and had a really good turnout, had really awesome production, and with everything going on with COVID, I was like, we could do more. Let's give away more. Let's do more. And so then the next summer we expanded. I kind of took over the whole backyard at my mom's house
Mm-hmm.
and put in like 15 raised beds.
Oh, wow.
And started growing, and that was the year that I started the farm officially.
So it really was all about food production from the very beginning?
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely. And so once I got into a little bit more and started hearing through some organizations like Michael Fields and Wisconsin Women in Conservation, about some more of the conservation side and some urban practices that could, conservation practices, and started going to some of those meetings. And it was at one of those meetings I met with one of the reps from National Resource Conservation Service. And they were like, if you do this, 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 and this, you're an urban farmer. And I was like, I'm an urban farmer. I do all of those things. So then we went forward and pursued getting a being a USDA registered production farm.
wow.
So we got a farm and track number and became an actual USDA production farm.
Yeah.
And continued with production and continue with some of the adding more conservation practices because so our 3 tenets are kind of renewal of our food system, our land, and ourselves.
Okay.
So really permaculture aspect in principles applied to all of it, like regenerative healing, full circle.
Yeah.
So we started looking at more of the conservation practices and doing some more community work and wellness events. And then in 2024, eventually opened the nonprofit, which is the MARM Farm Education and Conservation Center.
Now, what does MARM stand for?
So initially, MARM started out, the farm is on Mackinac Avenue.
Wow.
So it started out as the Mackinac Avenue Renewal Movement. But I had a lot of questions from people, so we have a farm stand that we put out where people can come and get whatever we have harvested at a pay-as-you-can. And I had people asking if they could come to the farm stand even if they didn't live on Mackinac. So I was like, that might be a little too narrow.
Yeah.
But I really liked MARM at that. I didn't want to give up the MARM part of it. So we kind of broadened it, and it fit well with Milwaukee Area Renewal Movement. So that's kind of how it became the official MARM now. But yeah,
That's
which
awesome.
works well because I do a lot of work kind of across the whole of Milwaukee County.
Right.
So
Yeah, I've
the
seen you
Milwaukee
everywhere.
area works.
So that makes sense.
Made sense. Worked out well.
Similarly, I think Food Freedom kind of has a focus in and around the Harambe neighborhood and surrounding neighborhoods. But we're willing to go further because we really want to have a broad Milwaukee County type of reach.
Absolutely.
Where we can.
Yeah.
But it's all about capacity, as you know.
Definitely. And I think and for each of us, that's kind of why I think the network is even so important, because we do all have like a cap on our capacity, right? We can all only do so much, but the closer that we are in that outreach and we start to fill in those gaps with building up this network, that capacity then becomes exponentially stronger. So
Right. We start reaching across gaps and closing those gaps between our borders, right?
Exactly. Yep.
So tell the story about how about MARM Farm with respect to it, what it's doing with the food that it produces. So how much and what kind, and then where does this go?
So right now the farm, we have limited capacity at the farm. We are working on putting up a high tunnel so that hopefully we'll be able to produce year round. But it's only a 1/4 acre lot, so there is a limited capacity. What we do grow, we will donate when we have harvest, but it's not a continuous channel of production.
Right.
So one of our projects that we are working on now, which will be the next kind of bigger project, is called a SCUGU, which is a self-contained urban growing unit. It's a 40-foot container that's going to be converted for hydroponic and mushroom growing.
Like a shipping container?
A shipping container.
Yeah.
Yep. So
Wow, where's this going to be?
it'll be actually in South Milwaukee in the parking lot of their municipal facility.
Oh, wow.
So they have granted us a lease to allow us to place it there and to use it.
That's great.
And then half of what we're growing in the SCUGU is going to be donated to the local food pantry, and the other half will be sold to local restaurants. So really, probably within a mile or 2 radius of where it's grown.
Right.
To try to hopefully support one part-time job that we can also create there.
That's
so
amazing.
looking at partnering with some of the students at the school who might want to learn about hydroponic growing. The container itself, why it's self-contained, will have solar panels for power, and we'll have a water catchment system for irrigation needs. And the outside is going to be covered with a moss, like a living moss, for initial filtration, for helping with water catchment, and for temperature regulation to help minimize energy use.
Yeah.
So hopefully the idea is that we could drop this on any concrete lot anywhere in the city, anywhere outside of the city, without it having to be connected to any public utilities or relying upon any municipal services, and be able to produce food
Even
almost
in the winter.
immediately, even in winter, year round.
That's incredible.
And so hopefully within that size container, we should be able to harvest what you could harvest in about an acre, 1 to 2 acres worth, depending on what we're growing. So
Yeah, that's
it's
amazing.
exciting. But
So, so you're getting to year round with this solution, and you have looked at maximizing food production given the space that you have.
absolutely.
And you're saying you can end up supplying restaurants and a food pantry. What are as you look at kind of the landscape in Milwaukee and the communities, neighborhoods that are dealing with hunger and malnutrition, what do you see as potential solutions if MARM Farm could do more? What do you think it could look like in order to address some of those issues?
Yeah, I think there's so much awesome work being done now, which is one of the main reasons that I was even interested in starting ACON when I got into this work and started learning about all the awesome organizations, not just growing, but like the theme of ACON was cultivating community, because the more that I learned about the work that's already being done, it's not just gardeners growing food. It's really people and organizations reaching out to help start businesses, to create safe spaces, to create new opportunities for their community, places of connection, places where people, it can be a safe space. So really focusing and trying to bring us all under one roof and get everybody together so we can share our work and share our resources and our experiences and the initiatives that we have, so that, like we said, we can kind of start bridging some more of those gaps.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that I'm very focused on, I'm also a master food preserver through University of Michigan Extension, actually. We don't have that program here yet.
I was going to say, I'm not aware of that.
We don't have that here yet, but Michigan Extension does. So I did the program through them, and food waste reduction and proper food storage, I think, is a huge part of it too. So doing classes, for me, I want to continue doing more classes on food preservation, like canning, drying, freezing.
Yeah. Right on.
Bulk purchasing and
talking
storage, minimizing just food waste, because really that's one of the biggest losses of income. It's like a third of the money that's spent on food ends up going towards food waste.
Yeah.
So, in homes where that third really makes a huge impact.
Yeah, it's huge.
Minimizing that as much as we can is another huge part of not only contributing the food on the front side,
Right.
but also making sure, and then also cooking classes.
Yeah.
Making sure that we're, every meal is a chance to heal. It kind of is what we like to focus on. So making sure that what we can offer is also nutritious and nutrient dense and protein rich, as much as we can too. So like in the school, I'll be growing beans. We have a winged bean that we're going to try to grow that can be then dried and be a shelf-stable protein at the food pantry too. So it doesn't require as much, refrigerator storage too. And the same with the mushrooms. The mushrooms can be fresh or dried, and are really nutrient and protein dense.
Yeah.
So not, salad is awesome, lettuce is great, spinach, but really making as much of an impact with nutritious and protein-rich food as we can.
Yeah, we started focusing on sweet potatoes for a while. Taught people how to do the slips and grow them indoors and get a head start, which you got to have. And then if you maintain it over the summer and it doesn't get too cold too soon in the fall, you can have decent sweet potatoes.
Awesome.
And talk about something that's nutrient rich, and then also just has an incredible culinary history throughout multiple American and Central American and South American cultures.
Absolutely. And I think that's another important part of it is the food sovereignty aspect.
Right.
Because like especially in Milwaukee, we're a pretty diverse community, and and when it comes down to it, and with all the different organizations doing the work that they do, I think we're opening up a lot more opportunities for people to have the assistance that they need, but also to have, learn how to grow culturally relevant and meaningful foods to them, and bring back some of that food sovereignty too.
So So how is that happening in Milwaukee? Where do you see that happening, and what's MARM Farm's role? What does your programming look like?
So, last
Like, who
year
are you
we did.
reaching, and what's your format for programming?
Yep. One of the things that we did, one of the series that I did that I really enjoyed and like to continue is a beginner's guide to urban farming, and really just focusing and helping to people to understand that you don't need a huge piece of property. You don't need expensive equipment to get started. And or seeds. You can save a seed from a tomato that you already have at home, that you've
Right.
already purchased, that you can grow, 200 seedlings
Right,
from.
you paid for that seed.
Right, exactly. But really removing some of the novelty of urban farming and really making it an everyday practice that people can relate to,
Which it used to
at
be,
their
right?
capacity. Right, right. And
For
I
a lot
think
of
that
people.
was a huge part of it. Like it was trendy, right?
Yeah.
And it's really a food justice imperative in our city. I don't see it as a novelty or as a trend. I see it as really an imperative for
Right,
making sure our people have enough food
right.
and can grow their own food. Have the option and opportunities to do that too. But we did the series so that we could. All of our programming is free and open to the public. So, and we for that series traveled around to different locations around all of Milwaukee. So we were at Victory Garden, we were at Alice's, we were at the library to talk about the green roof that they have at the library. So working on some growers, but also some sustainability locations and some conservation.
So you partnered with other organizations.
Absolutely.
I see.
Yeah, I think that is, one of the greatest ways to learn from
It's a
each
good
other
model,
and
right?
because
They can
everyone
promote-
has their
they can help
talents.
promote. They've got their networks,
Absolutely.
so they can help draw people from around their location.
Yep. And we're stronger together, right? Some people have the more that we increase our outreach, the more that we find out about additional resources or volunteers or extra help or extra spaces that we can use. So, yeah, I think that the connection is imperative. Like that's the biggest part of it.
Yeah. It's interesting kind of comparing our models and seeing where they kind of can cross and converge and where I think we could partner too.
Absolutely.
I think it'd be fun to talk about that a little bit. So in our first year, we focused a lot on building infrastructure, which was both kind of organizational infrastructure and also native plant infrastructure because ecology plant ecology is a huge part of our mission. So it's food for pollinators and people.
Love it.
So we're now starting to naturally move into the building out the kind of the food part, and that means that all of the partnerships that we've been starting to develop with community gardens, because you talked a bit about helping people that might even be just having a garden in their backyard, for example. But we're pretty focused on very low income communities where there's a lot less home ownership, and so the issue is often I don't know that my landlord will allow me to do anything in the yard,
Yep.
which is often the case.
Yep.
Now, eventually, we could make the case for them that we could add value to it by not just throwing a raised bed in there. That, I guess the concern is it could get neglected and then be a pain in the butt to remove or whatever. But what if native plants were installed all around there for free or really low cost, so that now there's a different kind of environment happening in that yard, and it's way more valuable, right? Maybe for future sale or even just for renting to people that would appreciate it. So it could be made to be an attractive thing even for a landlord to allow their tenants to then have raised beds in the yard. But we're really focusing a lot on getting people together, growing food together in communities. So because nutrition's an issue, but there's several crises we have in our society that kind of can converge on community gardening. And if you think about social connection, for example, right, and even physical activity applies anywhere. But bringing people together to where neighbors start to meet and get to know each other, and then start sharing food and sharing knowledge, and having programming that's just for that neighborhood community garden, for example. That's kind of where we're trying to go, because I guess my social work background, we have kind of more of a community organizing kind of approach to addressing food sovereignty and food justice. And so, I can imagine having you come to one of the community gardens in our network, and we could talk about what should we grow here and what could we do with what we grow here.
Yep.
You know, they're talking about, and some of our partners are talking about, we want to grow stuff that we can have in our homes, you know, so we could have a canning workshop. We grew a whole lot of tomatoes, and now we're canning tomatoes in the garden in the fall.
Awesome.
And people are going home with jars that are vacuum sealed, right?
Yep.
And that are
Excellent.
sterile, and they'll be able to pop that open in the middle of winter and have super nutritious, super fresh, you know, spaghetti sauce,
Excellent.
for example, right? So those are some of my, you know, dreams, you know, what I'm dreaming about, and I think we're close to that point. But this is the kind of thing where you've talked, you know, you've learned a lot about things like food preservation. You took that course, and this is what you've been doing for a while. And that would be incredible to have some help from you to come in and help our gardeners figure that out.
Anytime.
That would be something, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that would be fantastic. And I think that's part of one of the key takeaways too, is the no gatekeeping. Like anything that I am learning, or any connections that we can make, or any resources we have,
Right.
no gatekeeping, and just getting it out to
Right.
our other, you know, partner organizations and our residents and our community.
Yeah.
And
Well, what about the native plant stuff that we're doing? How could that help what you're doing?
Yeah, so actually we do quite a few different conservation practices at the farm too. So we actually just put in a pollinator
Oh, nice.
patch out in front of the lawn
Yeah.
this year, and put in a rain channel that will have native plants planted. It's just got dogwood and elderberry right now, but
Okay.
we'll eventually have more. We'll be putting in another rain garden in the back. So I am happy to come and talk about even how those conservation practices can be applied in small spaces.
Yeah.
As far as growing, like you said, even if you don't have a yard, you know, we can talk about container growing. We can talk about hydroponic growing. We can talk about aquaculture possibly. Like I saw there's a whole research of sweet potatoes being grown in aquaculture to both feed the fish and grow some healthy slips for sweet potatoes.
wow.
So yeah, you know, anything that we can help provide as much opportunity as possible, because in different systems work for different people in different places, depending on, like you said, the space that you have, the community, you know, space that's available, or outreach.
Right.
So yeah, anything
Okay.
that we can. I love the idea of foodscaping too. So like for some people, if you maybe get the approval to do some, like you said, some native plants, but maybe not grow food.
Yeah.
But you know, maybe there's some native plants and some food plants intermingled. You know, like
They can interplant with them.
absolutely.
But also, even just looking at native plants, like for example, there is a native black raspberry,
Oh yeah, all
for
of it.
example. So that could be, you could grow those. And I've heard just recently, I was reading about trellising with those can work really well in smaller spaces.
Awesome.
And then all those shrubs, you know, some of the native plants have culinary or medicinal qualities as well, so that they can be part of food.
Yep.
But then, what does it look like to have a native prairie patch and then have a tomato plant or a squash plant or a corn growing in the middle of that? That would be pretty cool to design some stuff and try some stuff out. So I'd be excited to do that with you. That'd be fun.
Likewise.
But we have a big nursery, so maybe you're able to get a lot of people are able to get native plants donated from other larger entities. But and then I don't know how much consulting goes along with that. You know what I mean? But this is the path that we've been on for a while, is really helping people learn how to design their gardens and really make it participatory, design their native plant gardens, learn how to prep the ground, you
Excellent.
know, and then be able to participate in installing their garden. And yeah, maybe there's opportunities for us to do that together in some of the spaces that we're
Definitely.
working in.
Yeah, I look forward to it.
And
I'd love
maybe
to.
workshops too. So.
Yeah, definitely. And that's one thing, even throughout the winter season, it's a great learning time.
Right. Good time
Because
for programming, right?
perfect.
We're not
Yep.
as busy with the gardening.
Absolutely. We can catch some people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I look forward to it. That would be great.
Okay, that's awesome. Well, I want to say thank you for your leadership in this this sector of Milwaukee. Coming out with AgCon, that was something that was just really, really badly needed. And now, because of you and all of that work, and I know your volunteers as well, and everyone that's participated, we now have this annual place to come together and learn and talk and meet people. Every time I go, it's an incredible experience. Who would you like to, if you're gonna make a plug for next year's AgCon, who should be maybe considering? Who do you think should consider coming?
Absolutely. So I really have always said since the beginning, I'm like, I would rather flood the market and tell way too many people than miss that one person that might have wanted to know about it and be attending. Anybody who is currently growing, producing in a community-based organization that's helping with food justice, climate justice, environmental justice, water conservation. I mean, the permaculture aspect really applies at ACON because these are not siloed issues. These are issues that are all interconnected, and all of the work that we're doing, impacts us throughout the whole network. But really also just people who want to learn. So if you are just thinking about it and you just want to know a little bit more about how do I do my soil testing, or how do I learn if my soil is good, or how do I put in a raised bed, or what are native plants?
Right.
It's a free conference. We have some amazing experts and community organizations.
Vincent?
Yeah, hopefully next year we'll be able to be back at Vincent, which is an agriculture, a
Great
hidden
space.
gem of agriculture in Milwaukee. So yeah, that anyone that might have an interest in learning more
That
should
sounds
come
great.
and join us.
Well, thanks again for your work. I'm looking forward to working with you and being at AgCon next year.
Thank you for your work.
You bet.
Appreciate it.
So we have about one more minute here, and just want to mention again, you're listening to Food Freedom Milwaukee. We have been talking with our guest Ellen Colby from MARM Farm, Milwaukee area renewal movement. Sorry, I didn't have any of those.
It's okay, you got it.
I did have 0 of those.
That's okay.
Well, the first
MARM's
one,
the
I had
important.
Milwaukee. I
The
had
illiterate, the
Milwaukee.
MARM farm is the part.
So real quick, what's been going on at Food Freedom? I just want to mention that we have a group of people that we're guiding through a whole process of learning how to identify native plants, collect seeds, save the seeds, prep and plan their gardens, and then over winter sow their seeds, and then pot them up, and then plant them in
Excellent.
their gardens, typically in their front or backyards or other public spaces. So that's been happening over the last month, and I'd like to encourage anyone else to join. It's never too late to jump into that process with us.
Excellent.
So thanks everyone for listening.